The first thing I want to say before I start this video is I've seen him on my timeline before. I know who Stoney the Great is. I don't have no problems with him. I just got problems with a lot of what he said in this video. Now, I tried to do this video on Friday, but my computer was just deciding not to work, so I gotta refilm it. So I don't want to hear nobody saying, "Oh bro, this is such and such news, you late." I know I was supposed to do this 3 days ago, but my computer said, nah, I don't feel like working. That being said, we're gonna jump straight into the video.
The easiest way to trigger most modern gamers. However, if y'all actually took the time to listen to them people who say that, I promise you realize that they kind of have a point. Because see, most people who say that come from an era where you didn't have to, quote, expand your horizons to find a good game. Because back in
the first thing, oh wait, I forgot to turn on my filters for my instrumental. Okay, so the first thing I want to say about that comment, like doesn't make sense at all, period. Because like back in, all right, what are we on right now? The internet, right? Information travels infinitely faster right here in 2025 than it did in 19 whatever the era of gaming he comes from, that his frame of reference for what he's talking about in this video. Because like back in the day, you learned about the latest games once a month in a Game Informer, Nintendo Power, or something like that. And that's if you had money, because the internet wasn't as developed as back then. Because when I was little, like I experienced like the tail end of it, but when I became a teenager, I had stuff like Cheat Code Central. If I was stuck on something in the game, I could look it up. In the 90s, you just had to hope one of your friends knew the answer to the game or something like that. There was no Cheat Code Central. There was no internet. There was no day one a game comes out, everybody's telling you the best way, the easiest way to beat the game. Information in general traveled slower. So saying that you didn't have to expand your horizons to find a good game, it's like, bro, there was like 3 companies advertising a game to you. You had 3 choices of games. You played the game. If you saw a commercial and the game looked cool in a commercial, you played a game until you found something you liked about it. Because his frame of reference for playing games from throughout this video, because I've seen it already, is mostly from when he's younger. And he's, let's say in his 30s. So if his frame of reference is like the early 2000s, the 90s type era, then yeah, you didn't have to expand your horizons, because marketing was very, 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 very heavily shifted towards only a couple games. Like right now, you go on TikTok, you see commercials for games. You go on Twitter, you see commercials for games. You watch the NBA, you see commercials for games. You go to a movie, you see commercials for games. You driving on the highway, Kiki, do she love me? You seeing commercials for games. If you still opening up magazines, you see commercials for games. So it's way more places to see commercials for games, and it's way easier to hyper target sub demographics. Because that's also another thing. If you were a gamer in previous eras, there was no, oh, I play RPGs only. There was no, oh, I only play basketball games. No, you played whatever game you could get your hands on. So like advertising to a gamer in previous generations was easier because more gamers played more games. Now there's sub demographics. Now there's people who only play cozy games, people who only play Fortnite, people who only play battle royales. So yeah, you have to expand your horizons because there's more variety than ever. Like just with the sheer amount of games that are coming out, you could take any random 3 adjectives and put game at the end, and there's a game exactly like that. That didn't exist in the 90s. I couldn't just go, where is it? I couldn't just click this button, let this load, and then click this tab right here and be able to get access to a professional level game creation engine. There are people going to college, getting degrees, learning how to use this engine. And you see how long it took me to boot it up after I got it installed and all that? I clicked the icon, I could click install engine, and if it was installed, I could click start engine. You couldn't do shit like this in the 90s. And in the 90s, there were less softwares. And the software that did exist were fucking awful. So it was way harder to get into game creation. You couldn't just make a game in your basement and make $1 million off of it. So yes, you do have to expand your horizons. There's more games now more than ever, which also means there's more bullshit. But what's bullshit to one person may not be to another person. You know, one man's trash, one man's treasure type beat. But let's dive back into this video because I got a lot to say about this shit.
Back in the day, if you wanted to find a good game, it was easy. Here you go.
Nah. Objectively, nah. Because again, this is a rose tint. Why does my camera always move up? That's such a rose tinted glasses statement. Back in my day, you didn't have to search hard to find quality. Nigga cap. Cause like this whole you didn't have to expand your horizons to find a good game. This whole like, oh, it was easy to find a good game. No. You had like 5 games to choose from at any given time. So you played one and just accepted it. Like right now, if a game releases, it could be one goofy, non-game breaking glitch where you walk and your character just randomly dies. Everybody's throwing their hands in the air saying, I can't buy this game is trash, blah, blah, blah. You didn't have that back then. Back then, unless your game legitimately did not work, niggas would play your game, and if they saw a glitch, it'd be, haha, lol, that's a glitch. Excuse me, haha, lol, that's a glitch. That don't exist right now because with the ever changing and expanding landscape of gaming, everybody's gaming backlog looks crazy. There's people who sit down and look at game trailers and just write down in their notes app, okay, I like this game, I like this game, I like this game. And whenever they get tired of what their current obsession game is, they got a list of like 50 games they could go to and play, or they could buy and start on. Most people wasn't doing shit like that in the 90s. Not the hardcore gamers, the casual, the surface level gamers. No level of gamer was doing that. Game reviewers, I don't really count them because, like, you know, when you're getting paid to do something, you're gonna go the extra mile. But like the average gamer wasn't doing that. Right now, the average gamer has a big ass backlog. So like, you didn't have a lot of variety of what you could pick, and a lot less people were adults buying games. Most of the time, it was people, mommy, can I get those games? And she said, nigga, I'm broke. You better pick a game. And then out of the game you picked, she'll probably pick the cheapest one and say, get that one. So it's not that those games were necessarily better. You didn't have shit else. So you played it over and over and over and over and over until you liked it. That's where the rose tinted part comes in.
No sports, that's fine. Here you go. You want a good detective noir?
And keep in mind, when I watched this the first time, I looked through the list of games. Most of these games had really big marketing campaigns. Like the sports games, obviously. Nigga, Max Payne, that's a fucking classic. This was the only one I saw out of all of those that didn't have a big campaign, but everything else.
Here you go. Want GTA, but not
this game. I know specifically, amazing game, sold like dog shit. Nobody brought this fucking game.
Need a racing game?
This game is like a 15th edition release. Because if you pay attention, some of y'all may not understand this because nowadays, whenever they want to add something new into a game, they just update it. But back in the days, if they wanted to add something to a game, they had to make a new version of the game and release that. That's why, for example, there's a lot of versions of Street Fighter, like of Street Fighter 2. A list of all so back in the days, if you wanted to update something in your game, you had to release a whole new game. So from 96 to 91, so for 6 years, Capcom released Street Fighter. So first, they released Street Fighter 2, World Warrior. And keep in mind, back then, ports of a games weren't always one-to-one. Actually, ports of games were rarely one-to-one. So playing, for example, a different version of the same game on a different console with a different regional variation is a whole different game. For another example, even though I'm all over the place, Super Smash Bros. Melee, there's 3 versions. The Japanese version, the American version, and the European version. Those are 3 completely different versions of the game because there's a balance update. The European version was the last one to come out. Then it's the American version. That's the second one. That's the one that's standardized that everybody plays now. And there's the Japanese version that came out first. Those are 3 different games balance-wise. So keep that in mind, that every release of this game is not the same. Also, this is not current day gaming. Back in the days, a home console version of a game wouldn't always be as up to par and up to standards and polished as the arcade games. So we're gonna count all these ports separately. So Street Fighter 2, base Street Fighter 2, there's 3 versions: arcade, SNES, Game Boy. Then Street Fighter 2 Champion Edition, arcade, Special Champion Edition. Street Fighter 2 Turbo Hyper Fighting, arcade, and then 2 Turbo. Street Fighter 2 The New Challenger, arcade, NES, Sega Genesis. Well, it's saying no, the Sega games and NES Super SNES games were different. That's 10 versions. This game was being released over and over for 6 years. We're at year 3 and we got 10 versions. Let's keep going. Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo, arcade, 3DO, Turbo for matchmaking service. So probably an online version, I guess. I don't fucking know. Turbo X Revival. That's 4 versions in 1 year. We're at 14 versions of the same game. 4 years in. Oh wait, no, that's a different game. That's a different game. So for 4 years and 4 years to balance, patch, and update the same fucking game. For 4 years, they re-released the same game 14 different times. And like I said, keep in mind, even if you want to take the one where it said, if you want to take this one count it as 1. In 4 years, they re-released the same game 13 times, 13 different versions with 13 different sets to 14 different sets of balance, updates, and changes. I say that to say, pay attention to this cover. This is not just Midnight Club 3. This is the Midnight Club 3 Dub Edition. Not just the Dub Edition, but the remix of the Dub Edition with NetPlay PAL version. That's what? Dub Edition, remix, PAL with NetPlay. Oh, PAL with NetPlay. That's 4 subtitles. That's 4 subtitles. Let's keep going.
Here you go. No microtransactions, by the way. NIS.
Oh, this one, I loved when he said this point. Because, like, there's a lot of people who really... I've done research on the history of microtransactions deeply in video games. And the example I used when I was recording an original video was Doom. So, again, this goes with the whole thing of him not really being a gaming historian. He's just somebody who plays video games, which is cool. I don't want that to get misconstrued in this video. That's why I'm not even playing the Sephiroth theme. Because I feel like this is generally an instance of, my nigga, you need to be educated. You're not qualified to talk on this subject, my boy. Not saying you've never picked up a game, but I'm saying bro is a casual gamer, which is fine. He's just been playing games for a long time, so he tends to know more than average, but he's not research level like I am. And that's not to sound self-righteous or anything. This is just me pointing out a fact. So, with the whole microtransaction point, I use Doom as an example because a lot of people don't know this. But originally, when you brought Doom, you only got like the first 1 or 2 levels of Doom for free because it was something called shareware. Now, it's kind of hard to translate in today's terms, so bear with me. But shareware was essentially the base part of the game is free, but if you want the rest of the game, you had to go into a mail catalog, because remember, the original Doom came out in the early 90s sometime. So there wasn't no just ordering on Amazon, get it next day. No, that type of infrastructure wasn't in place, wasn't nowhere near being put in place yet. So you had to go into a mail catalog, order the floppy disk with the rest of the game, wait however much time, and they would send it to you. Also, each patch, each balance change and update for the game. Because yeah, with single player games, there are balance changes and updates every once in a while. Back then, to get a balance change and or update to the game that fixed some things, fixed glitches, rebalance some weapons so that they feel a little bit better, you had to pay for those separately. You know what that sounds like? You know what that sounds like? A microtransaction. Doom in I think it was 91. Let me check. Doom OG release date. Yeah, 1993, excuse me. Doom was released in 1993 and had microtransactions and or DLC. Whichever one you want to count it. You got the game for free and then you had to buy the rest of the game. Sounds like a microtransaction to me. If a game right now tried to do that, what would we call that? A piece of shit game. Doom is a legendary game that people consistently port to every piece of fucking technology. You can literally play Doom in Notepad. You can play Doom in a PDF. You can play Doom on your phone. You can play Doom on a McDonald's soda machine. No, I'm not making that up. I'm dead fucking serious. There's somebody who hacked a McDonald's soda machine to be able to play Doom. That is 0% a joke. So, this old modern gaming is infected with microtransaction. No, nigga. It's capitalism. Now, has it gotten more popular as it's been refined down to a science, an evil science? Yes. But to pretend like it didn't exist and go, oh, this game had no microtransactions back then. Well, yeah, games back then did have microtransactions too. They just weren't popular yet. Let's keep going.
Even this, I mean, goddamn, bro, I can keep going.
Still, all mainstream games listed that have had major marketing campaign pushes at those times.
I'll say the only people who say that are people who only play 2K and Madden.
Do realize that those same people are the people who had more than 2K and Madden back in the day?
Now, this point I kind of agree with, but before we get into this point, this point kind of irks the fuck out of me because, like, I feel like you're taking a phrase that simplifies and generalizes something and you're over literalizing it. Now, what I mean by that is the point of people saying only 2K, Call of Duty, Madden niggas say that isn't to say like literally the only games you play are NBA 2K, Madden. But if you look at people in the demographic we're talking about, usually they're buying less than 5 games a year. I know this because I've looked it up and I've paid attention to my friends' purchase histories between the ones that I can consider hardcore gamers and the ones that I don't. Usually, I've met people, bro. I've met people. I remember I was working at an after school program. There were like 6 kids there that all told me. I heard them talking about video games. I was like, oh, what games you be playing? All 6 of them said, only thing we play are FIFA, 2K, Madden. So first of all, those people do exist. Second of all, the point isn't literally that they play 2K, Call of Duty, Madden. The point is that they're not really like they're not a hardcore gamer. When it comes to the art of gaming, they don't really know what they're talking about because generally they buy under 5 games a year. And I say that because usually there'll be a sports game thrown in there. They'll play a bunch of a live service game, and then the rest of their 2-3 purchases will usually be will be whatever that year's breakout casual game is. So for example, for last year it was Wukong and and Sparking Zero. A lot of people who play Sparking Zero don't play any other game. That's why they're still playing that piece of shit game. And that's why they're over there sitting in the corner yelling, gaming sucks. Gaming is boring. Because you're stuck on a game that's gotten stale for you. Of course, if I eat bagels every day for a year, I'ma hate bagels, nigga. It's like how the other day I was having a conversation in Discord, right? And we was talking about food. And we got on the topic of military food. And somebody was saying, yo, bro, eating a military MREs with chili cheese, yo, them shits was bussin'. And we was like, they're bussin' because you weren't in the military. You chose to eat that shit. And the person that was in a VC with me was in the military. He was like, yeah, he's exactly right. Because he was like, You like that shit because you were free to eat whatever the fuck else you wanted during the week. That's all I had during the week. So it's different. Like if you grow up on a tomato farm and every night you eat tomatoes, when you leave that tomato farm, you don't want tomatoes. I get a sandwich, it's going to be no tomatoes on it. When I get French fries, I'm putting nothing on them, no ketchup. I grew up on a tomato farm. I left the tomato farm when I was 20. No, nigga, I don't want ketchup. No, I don't want tomato soup with my grilled cheese sandwich. I'm tired of tomatoes, nigga. I ate tomatoes for 20 years until I left the tomato farm. Same thing with this. If you're eating the same type of game over and over year after year, of course you're gonna get tired of games, nigga. If you eat tomatoes every night, of course you're gonna hate tomatoes. The fuck?
Walk you through it real quick. See, back then we didn't need to just rely.
This point I do somewhat agree with, but we'll get to it.
Madden for our football fix. We could go NFL Street. We could go ESPN 2K5. We could go NFL Blitz. We could go NFL Game Day. Hell, fuck it. Let's do it. NFL Quarterback Club. Bro, we didn't need just 2K. We had
Now let me run it back.
We could go NFL Street. We could go ESPN.
Now, the point I want to make for this is,
hey, let me walk you
if you're a gamer with a little bit of age, or if you're a gamer who, like me, grew up playing retro and older games and doing their research, doing their due diligence, tell me how many of these games you have ever had in your collection or played at your friend's house.
I'm
gonna go through mine. This one I owned.
We could go NFL Street. We could go ESPN.
Never heard of this shit till today. I mean, till like the day I saw this.
We could go NFL.
Never heard of this shit.
Blitz. We could go
Never heard of this shit.
NFL Game Day. Hell, fuck it.
Never heard of this shit.
Let's do it. NFL Quarterback Club. Bro, we didn't need.
The point I wanted to make by showing which of those games were up there, well, how many of these, besides NFL Street, how many of those other games have you ever fucking heard of? So, yes, there was more variety, but a lot of those shits didn't sell well. And you know what happened to the one that did sell well? They bought an exclusivity contract with the NFL. And nobody can afford to buy out that exclusivity contract to be able to get the rights to make NFL football simulation games. So literally nobody else can make a football game. So yes, there was more variety, but the reason why we're at the point we're at now is because nobody brought into that variety. Niggas brought Madden. That's why Madden has the exclusivity contract, because people actually fucking brought it. That's why with the NBA games he's gonna show, niggas brought 2K. You know when the last NBA Live was? 2019. Nobody brought it because they were on 2K, which that one is a little bit skewed for the simple fact that by that time 2K was so dominant, it didn't make sense for them to make the fucking game, but still. NBA Live 2019 was better than 2K 2019 at the time, but 2K was just too powerful at that point. So at this point, the only way that any NBA simulation game can get a chance is if players start licensing out their likeness to be used in games. But this ain't the 2000s. Niggas know that video games make money now. Back then in the 2000s, 25 cents in a handshake and oh my god, this is gonna be so cool, is all you needed to get a player's likeness in a basketball game. You could get them niggas $500,000. I mean $5,000, $500. They'll probably put their likeness in the game, and they'll mostly giving it to you for free basically because they just want to be in a video game. Now niggas know that video games make money. They want some extra dough if you're not the NBA, because the NBA is paying them big bucks. So of course you're gonna be in 2K. You're in the NBA. But if you're a non-NBA 2K game, you really gonna have to shell out crazy money. So niggas can't, excuse me. So while there is no technically legal monopoly over the rights, it's an effective monopoly. Because again, who the fuck else is gonna be able to afford to buy the rights to get NBA players, even if they only get a couple in their game? Unless you get a couple fucking third-rate G League borderline going to ass niggas, third man off the bench ass niggas to be in your game, which is a game full of people that the average NBA fan nasty farted. But stuff that the average NBA fan ain't playing. No, nigga, of course, nigga. Of course, nobody's playing that shit. Nobody's gonna be able to play that shit and afford it, which leads back to the dilemma we started with. Nobody brought those fucking games, so they died out, and that's why the two big companies that got the contracts got the contracts because their games actually fucking sold. And these are big monopoly level businesses we're talking. That's why none of these shits exist. Not because gaming is boring, because gaming is also a business.
Need just 2K? We had NBA Street. We had NBA Jam. Man, I bet y'all ain't even heard of NBA Shootout.
I wonder why. Never heard of it.
Inside Drive.
Never heard of it.
The GOAT of them all.
I know that I heard of this one because it fucking flopped. Shit didn't sell.
NBA Live. We had variety back then. We
have variety now because these are all more modern games. Like, bro, you can't tell me Hi-Fi Rush is anything like The Witcher, is anything like Super Meat Beat Boy, is anything like Psychonauts, is anything like Nigga Gaiden. What the fuck game is that? I can't tell what game that is, but I'm pretty sure it's vastly different. And like, yeah, there are games in the same genre, but bro, nothing on this fucking list right here that I can see is like Elden Ring. Nothing on this list is like Zelda. So like, what are we talking about? Again, mathematically, there's no way that gaming had more variety back then. That shit just doesn't make sense mathematically. That's like saying, yo, I don't like the lack of diversity in hip hop right now. How? There was no Spotify in the 90s. In the 90s, if you couldn't afford to get your shit pressed up in a CD, your music wasn't going nowhere. You couldn't just download a cracked version of professional level software, get professional level sounding vocals for very cheap, and then just put it out there for free to where millions of people can access it. You couldn't do that in the 90s, nigga. Like, what the fuck is we talking about? Hey, thank you for the W follow. Go ahead and throw the V one time for me. But you couldn't do that in the 90s, nigga. Like, what is we talking about? Like, what are we actually talking about? You could not do that. You could just mathematically, you could not do that. So that is very, very untrue.
Options, and those games came complete. They didn't come with no microtransactions. Y'all remember when
I already gave y'all the example with Doom, right? Okay. Doom had microtransactions in 1993. Thank you.
This drop, yeah, this shit wouldn't have happened back then.
That's a motherfucking lie. I don't like this point because, like, this feels like rose-tinted glasses. Because there were plenty of fucking games that released broken. I don't remember all the examples I gave, but one in particular I remember was Agents of Mayhem. That game came out in the 360 era. That shit was broken. Oh, Superman 64. That game was fucking broken. What's the platform I'm thinking of? It wasn't Conquer. Bubsy. That shit when it released was broken. So what's that Batman game? Matter of fact, look at half the games Matt McMuscles talks about on what happened. Half those fucking games released broken. I forgot what it was called, but it was a Batman game that released a really long time ago. Like when I was a kid, that when it came out, it was broken. Matt Mc. Let me show you, because his channel is full. Because I like watching his channel. His channel is full of games that released in previous eras of gaming that came out hella fucking broken. Let's see, playlist. Let me control F it. AHA. Wow. Where is it? What happened? There we go. 200 videos. Yeah, I know this list is full of fucking examples. Street Fighter the movie, the game, 1994. That shit released broken. This game is glitchy as a motherfucker. Not Doom 64. What other games here do I know about? That's the movie. That just sold badly. WCW Backstage Assault. That shit released very poorly, very broken. Callisto Protocol's new. Operation, I don't know about that one. Borderlands a movie. No, this is more movie stuff. Let me scroll down a little bit. Marvel Nemesis. This game didn't fucking work. That game released fucking terribly, bro. Terribly. That game, you can't even point the camera at your character properly because it would crash the game. So they had to limit the way they pointed the character at your game. The game points the camera at your character. That shit fucking released terrible. What else? Oh, Sonic. Speaking of the Sega and Saturn, Sonic 06. That game infamously released terribly and didn't fucking work on release. What else? I mean, y'all kind of get the point. Because, like, I'm looking for specific games I know for a fact released terribly. And, like, I'm scrolling and some of these shits are all over the place. Oh, yeah, Turok. I remember that game released. This one didn't release terribly, but it didn't work very well on release. You kind of get the point. You got, oh, yeah, another one, Sub-Zero. This game had a fuck ton of glitches and also was shitty. So you get my point. My point is trying to use Cyberpunk and say, oh, back in the day, if you released a game that was fucked up, you were cooked. That's now too. Cyberpunk is lucky. Look at Mind's Eye. I'm gonna talk about that later, but look at Mind's Eye. Mind's Eye, that game release is glitchy as fuck. You can barely even play the goddamn game without running into immersion level, breaking glitches, the game crashing on you 100,000 times, shit blue screening PCs left and right. No. Cyberpunk is a rare example. And I feel like Cyberpunk is a cherry-picked example because they have a multi-million-dollar AAA studio backing them. Majority of the studios right now that release a broken game, day one, they're fucking cooked. Their player base don't get above 105. Their player base number looks like an erectile dysfunction. Shit just, meow. So this is such a badly cherry-picked example.
Good games left when you got games like this that come out and it take them 2 fucking years to fix the shit.
Which, to be fair, that wasn't the developers, that was the execs, but that don't matter. Game release broken. Fair. But like I said, rose-tinted glasses. Broken games released in the 90s and the 2000s and 2010s too.
It's dropped. It was finished. It was complete. Wasn't
this game isn't free of glitches.
No goddamn patch. Oh yeah, y'all remember this?
On the OG Xbox, yeah.
This midnight releases, ain't no more of that shit. This was a...
Okay, this sentence right here invalidates your whole argument. If physical copies of games are dying, why the fuck would anybody wait outside of a GameStop? This has nothing to do with games are dead or the quality of gaming or anything like that. This is a simple matter of, bro, if physical copies of games are dying, why would I wait outside of GameStop? Remember, the 2020 pandemic happened 5 years ago. Yeah, it's been half a decade, people. 5 years ago. So most people, they're ordering shit off of DoorDash, off of Uber Eats. Yes, Uber Eats delivers video games, so no. Oh, off of Uber Eats and stuff like that. So yeah, nobody's waiting outside of a goddamn store for a game like that when they can order it online and get it same day or next day shipping. 2 days, same week. In the 90s, if you could even order a game online, which was very rare, you're not getting that shit until next month. Now we could get this the same week and throw our hands in the air and say, why does it take so long? When 3 to 4 weeks, business weeks used to be the norm. So not only that, it's like, not only is it the fact that nobody's buying physical copies and that nobody's waiting outside of stores because like COVID fucked that up. Stores don't even have the fucking game day one nowadays. I remember walking around, this is in 2024 by the way. I remember walking around last year trying to find Space Marines, going from GameStop to Walmart, every fucking store that sold games, I went to it. Couldn't find Space Marines on the day that it released. So most games on the day it released, you can't find it in stores. And if you order it off Amazon, you have to be one of the first few people to pre-order it and pray that your pre-order doesn't get pushed back a whole week. Because that happened with me, Space Marines. I pre-ordered it like the weekend before the game came out. The week the game came out, they said now you gotta wait 2 weeks. And I wanted to have a game like Space Marines, a game that's actually on a disc physically. So I had to wait those 2 weeks. So again, this whole physical copies are dying thing, it's like, yeah, bro, you debunked your argument with that. And not only is it that, like, yeah, bro. Like, digital sales, bro. Digital sales. Physical copies aren't just dying because games are boring. They're dying because it's really fucking hard to get a physical copy, if they even get made. The amount of times in the last year I've tried to look for a physical copy of an indie game, And I heard the answer no, blew my mind. And I'm not talking about small indie games either, all the time.
Of gaming culture, when there was games that was worth standing outside all goddamn.
There are games worth standing outside for, but why the fuck would you stand in a blazing cold when you could download and preload the game and sometimes play the shit a day or two early if you preload it and get lucky and they mess up the unlock times? Like, you just debunked your whole fucking argument. Like, what do you mean there's no games worth standing outside for? Like, people were standing outside for the Nintendo Switch. And that shit sold 3 million copies in like 2 days or some shit like that. Even though that's not a game, that's a game system still.
Damn night 4. Oh yeah, y'all remember this? Probably not. Couch co-op. What the fuck happened here?
Split fiction. That's all I have to say. Your whole argument with that is debunked. Split fiction.
Another very vital part of gaming culture that was swiped away from us because of corporate greed. Oh no, we don't want 4 of y'all sharing one console. We want all 4 of y'all to buy your own console and just play online like a bunch of fucking dweebs. Like,
you're a dweeb for playing a game online now? Like, okay, bro, I guess. But the point about that doesn't make any sense is this is not back in the day. More people than ever have gaming systems of their own just through having gaming systems of their own. Remember, gaming is not that niche anymore. Gaming is mainstream. We have good gaming movies that are selling millions and millions upon millions of dollars. We have had capitalism harshly, look at NBA 2K, harshly invade gaming. Capitalism doesn't invade a niche unless that niche is very highly profitable. Like gaming. You know when's the only time something is highly profitable? When a lot of people are into it. Because that means a lot of people are putting money into the ecosystem of something so that ecosystem may be built up. So these points are not making sense, my boy.
corporate greed. Oh no, we don't.
Oh yeah, and also because gaming is not niche, more people have consoles. So the fact that more people have consoles and that technology has fucking advanced in the last 30. Why does it randomly keep just playing itself? Fuck the last 30 years that is just advanced in the last 10 years. Like since 2015, technology has advanced significantly in the last 10 years. It's like, yeah, bro, more people have their own console and want to stay inside. That's just natural evolution of the technology we have. Now, yes, it is good to play some couch co-op. It is good to go over to a friend's house and play games on the couch. But most kids ain't doing that. That's just the reality of it.
And just play online.
And like, this is not companies want you to. No, companies are aware. Because I feel like sometimes people mistakenly attribute shit to the evil of companies when it isn't. And I'm not defending companies. They still do their evil shit. I'm just saying this particular aspect isn't the evil shit they do in specific.
Dweebs. Like, damn, bro, whatever happened to family fun games?
And I mentioned Rock Band again. Not Rock Band. I'll mention the fact that what I was saying earlier, how if you wanted to add some new content or add a new spin or twist to the gameplay formula of a game, you had to re-release or release an entirely new version of the game. Do you know how many fucking rock bands there are? And not even, let me do this test. For anybody watching this who has ever brought Rock Band, where's that Rock Band instrument right now? I bet you it's not next to your gaming setup. I bet you that. I bet you that shit is in the closet somewhere. I bet you're like, yo, I forgot I had that. Or the answer was, oh yeah, I sold it at a garage sale because wasn't using the shit. It was sitting there collecting dust. And then some Rock Band aficionado came and said, yo, I need that exact version of a guitar, Rock Hero guitar, and they brought it off you. Because most people brought this shit, they played it with their family for a month, got tired of singing the same fucking song over and over, and then that's it. That's it. So it's like, bro, I gotta call you out on this argument. This series doesn't exist anymore because it got fucking boring. And the last Rock Band they released, nobody brought that shit. And the people that did buy that shit, they just kept continuing to update the game and put more songs and more song packs in the game. So they just bought more song packs. And after a while, buying a new sound pack isn't going to make a game fresh again, which is why I used the Sparking Zero example earlier. Most people who don't play too many games play the same fucking game over and over until they get tired of it. But now with the wealth of how every day you scroll TikTok, you seeing a new commercial for a new fucking game you never heard of. YouTube, you see an ad for a game. Twitch, TikTok, billboards. When you at the doctor's office, magazines. And when you go to the movies, you seeing commercials. You're just seeing more commercials for more games. Then your friend is coming over here, booting up Discord. You hop in a Discord. You tell your friend, yo, let's hop on Warzone. And they're like, nah, bro, you heard of this new game? Oh, it's a motherfucking monster on my ceiling. Hold on. Actually, I'm gonna let you live, nigga. But if I find a single hole in my clothes, I'm gonna put a hole in your head like a dolphin. I'm gonna change your species, pussy. Anyway, what was I saying? Oh, when you play the same game over and over, of course you're gonna get tired of it, bro. Of course.
Like Guitar Hero in the Rock Band series. Everybody in the living room stressed out, mashing the buttons on this motherfucker trying to beat that.
And after they beat that one song, after that month, this shit sat where? In the fucking closet, never to be used again.
One song. I don't think y'all realize that when y'all tell people that they have to expand their horizons to find good games, that you're literally proving their point. Because
How? Please elaborate. Elaborate, B-Lou. Elaborate, Stoney the Great.
if gaming was currently as good as it always has been, according to y'all, wouldn't nobody have to dig for shit?
That's a terrible fucking example. You know what you literally just said? And like, I have to phrase it like this so you understand how wild it is. You literally just said, if somebody doesn't tell me what games to like, I don't know what games there are to like. You basically said you need to know another nigga's opinion on good game. You need another nigga's opinion on good games to figure out what the good games are. That's literally what you said. Like, bar for bar. Like, you may not realize it because that may not be the exact one-to-one phrasing. But meaning-wise, you literally just said, I need someone else's opinion. What games are good? Researching for myself, watching reviews. That's literally what you just did, bro. I bullshit you not. That's literally what you just did. And like, again, I want to reemphasize, no hate to this dude. I'm just saying, these are factual statements based on statements you made. Let me check. All right, cool. Let's keep going further though.
It would just be readily available in their face. Oh yeah, one last thing.
Oh yeah, see? He said readily available in your face. I need another nigga's opinion to know what games are good. Research, no! Read, nigga, read. But instead of read, research, nigga, research. Do some research, nigga. Shut your whole ass up and do some research, nigga. You see this? Google is free. YouTube is free. Use it. Use it. Pick up your phone. Do a Google search. If you don't want to read the review, there's tons of videos. Oh, you don't want to watch a 15-minute, 20-minute review? Go on TikTok, search up that game. I bet you find a review under 5 minutes, under 2 minutes. Shit, you might even find one 30 seconds long. And then people fucking fried his ass for this last part.
Ain't no more good as it always has been, according to y'all. Wouldn't nobody have to dig for shit? It would just be readily available in their face. Oh yeah, one last thing. When people say there ain't no more good games left, please stop suggesting these super niche ass games that only appeal to one type of person. You know damn.
So, first off, you spent this whole video saying I can't find any good games to play. Now, I will admit, I did not beat Baldur's Gate 3 because it's not for me. But to say this game is bad, you are objectively wrong. Like, objectively, you're wrong saying Baldur's Gate is bad. You're objectively wrong saying Baldur's Gate is niche because this shit sold like 13 million copies in a year, being released in the later part of the year, and it won Game of the Year. How can you say that a game is niche if it won Game of the Year, sold 13 million copies just in the year it was released? Also, like I said, you said there's no good games to play, and when somebody recommends you an objectively good game, you say, oh, this game is niche, I don't want to play that shit. This is literally the example of, I want a new game to play. Okay, what about this game? But does it have guns in it? No. I don't want to play that shit. What about this game? Nigga, did you just suggest me a cozy game? I need something with a little bit more action. Like Call of Duty. Well, what if you play this shooter? If you're into shooters, why would I play that shit when I could just play Call of Duty? What, then do you want to play old Call of Duty instead of new Call of Duty? Yeah, I want to play Call of Duty from the good old days. So you just went from Call of Duty modern day to Call of Duty old. That's all you did. Yeah, but this is the good stuff. I don't want to play that super niche bullshit. It's like, okay, bro. like sometimes you just gotta look at somebody and say, you don't see that you.
And well, everybody ain't into turn-based RPGs. Cut the shit. So, do I think
Expedition 33.
gaming is dead? No. But is it as good as it used to be? Fuck no.
That's a goddamn lie. Just by, it's another, like, there's so many reasons why that statement of is gaming as good as it used to be, fuck no. There's a whole plethora of reasons why that statement is crazy. But I just want to say, like, the number one reason I want to say you're objectively wrong is because of availability. Dub C's, or, well, Slander, Qaptain, whatever the fuck y'all call me. What do you mean by he's objectively wrong due to that point? Back in the days, before I'll say like 2015, if you wanted to buy a game and play it, you had to know what console that game came out on. Because there was such a thing, this is pretty much a dead concept at this point, borderline, but unless it's Nintendo, if you bought a game, you had to know what console you bought it on. Because not only did I mention earlier, there was such a thing called region locks where if you bought, depending on what country, this goes further into my point. So when you brought a console, which version of the game and which version of the console you brought mattered to what games you could buy. Because right now, if you want to buy an Xbox game and play it on your PlayStation, you can. You want to buy a PlayStation game and play it on your PC, you can. You want to buy a PC game and play it on your Xbox, you can. Because everything is an Xbox. I could pull my cock out my pants and probably play South of Midnight on there because everything's an Xbox. But console exclusives are borderline a dead concept. Even timed exclusives are becoming more and more rare. Like Rise of the Ronin and Stellar Blade were two of like the only PlayStation console exclusives, and both those shits came to PC. All the Xbox games that's releasing right now, nigga, they're putting Gears of War on PlayStation soon. The only thing Xbox IP wise that's not on PlayStation is deadass just Halo, and that's probably just because they don't give a fuck about Halo Infinite. So objectively you're wrong, because back in the day, half of the games that came out in a given gaming season, you just couldn't play because you didn't have the right console. Now, no matter what console you have, you could play everything. And if you buy a PC, you could double play everything. And not only can you play all the games that's coming out now, I could play all the games I missed that came out 10 years ago. Couldn't do that back then. Emulators weren't that good, widely available and or accessible, and it was really hard to get knowledge on how to work them, because again, you couldn't just go on your phone and Google shit. You couldn't just go on a forum or go use AI and it tells you exactly how to do it step by step in the simplest way possible. You didn't have that, nigga. You had to learn how to read a forum thread. Then you had to read the forum thread and figure out which person in the forum thread told the solution that worked for you, or you just had to keep trying shit till something worked for you. So you're objectively wrong saying that gaming was better back then because of just simple quality of life things like console exclusives being dead. Now, just to be transparent, I'm an advocate for console exclusives because I like the idea of platforms forcing themselves to be competitive, saying, should I go here or should I go here? That's what I believe. But if we're going in terms of like talking about objective facts, not opinion-based facts, to say gaming is not in a better place now than it was previously, again, you are objectively on every fucking level wrong. And it hurts me to say that because I really fuck with his videos. Well, this is my music page, which, by the way, go follow that. But objectively, you are wrong because I fuck with this dude's videos heavy. And to see this take from him actually had me like taken aback. Like, gaming sucks? Like, for me to say I agree gaming sucks, I would have to be completely lying to you. Matter of fact, I'm gonna make that the thumbnail. I agree, gaming sucks. Here's why. Because objectively, that shit is wrong. But yeah, let's go into this other gaming news. Let me watch this directing all this other stuff. And if you are in the stream on Twitch, all I ask is that you reload your tab. I will immediately get back into it and throw my back into it.